Sorry. Good day, everyone. Today, I'm about to talk about that no person is an island. Now, have you ever missed a day when you were surrounded by a group of friends running and chasing one another on the playgrounds back in the primary school? I feel as if there was not even a single minute belonged to myself back in those days. I genuinely stayed with my own gang and spent time playing hopscotch chicken with them. Well, nevertheless, when you grow up, everything's feeling lost and alone and far from home. Loneliness became your most familiar companion. It follows you all the way through your daily routine, on the crowded bus and the underground. It follows when you have to walk all alone in the project, which is so tough that almost costs you all of your weekdays, and then you have to rush your part-time job for the rest. It follows when you got sick and bite the bullet alone without telling your mom in case not to worry her. When I believe, for at least a moment, you felt you were exactly an isolated island far away from the continent, loved by no one. Especially today, we were in the abyss of suffering, but nobody seems to be there for you. And I think we all feel this way, or at least I have. But one thing was to be clarified, is that you're alone doesn't mean you're lonely. Real loneliness is not just being unaccompanied, but means we can't connect to anyone but feel a strong desire to have some emotional support. Loneliness is when you actually got no friends or family. Loneliness is when even you have friends, you feel left out and betrayed staying with them. Loneliness is missing human interaction to the point where when you feel something is wrong with you. Loneliness is when your self-worth is measured by how important are you to others. Loneliness is a suffocating feeling of drowning in your emotion, hoping for someone to save you but knowing that no one will. It's like a missing detective, they eternally lost in the depths of the universe, even though there may still be a million signals which cannot be received by anyone. Just like David always said that the planet Earth is blue and there's nothing I can do. And then one day, the battery went off. The signal stopped and their bodies became space junk. It reminds me of several news have reporting that unfruitful old people or youth without jobs and relatives found to be dead in the lands. I mean, isn't that pathetic? And meanwhile, horrifying. Well, this explains an idea of the importance of human combination. It is only through communication can we exchange information and convey emotions to each other. It is true that sometimes not only miscellaneous relationships could make people feel worthless, but we may also foster a negative emotion like self-denial, where life is most spent on feasting and social intercourse. Life is made up of numerous relationships. What we really need to do is to distinguish the more important one to the less important one. For instance, your relationship between you and your food are tighter than you with your primary classmates, most of whom you have already lost contact, while food is what you need to take in your body every day. I like to pose this question, that how many people in your life have you already had your last conversation with? We all have connection with other people. Maybe the connection will drift apart eventually, and great sorrow always comes along with goodbye. Just like Friends' final scene where Ross closed the apartment door. But there's no need to be disappointed. There will always be our connections blooming, just like leaves falling apart and being buried in the mud has become a fertilizers to new buds. That you and I both know that there's always someone picking up the phone at the other side. And that is the reason why we're not an island. And we will never be. For this, I like to quote John Donne's poetry, which is that no man is an island inside of itself. Every man is a piece of a continent, a part of the man. Thank you.
Of course, yes, Mr. Zhang Wanyang.